All right, all right. Go check this shit out. Living a life for the rest of your life. Reggae thinkers coming up with the highest price. For the beat, you know you will go to jail. You were right inside, and your love will fail. You want free to go, return back to the earth. Determination, but you're just forever. So now rock fire, go on with injury. Police on the ground, now deal with that fury. Just ask me to damn your hollow soul. Silence is golden and this makes you insane. Take away your own is the hatred of extreme. Yo, what's this song about? 3, 6, 4, 1. 3, 6, 4, 1. 3, 6, 4, 1. 3, 6, 4, 1. 3, 6, 4, 1. 3, 6, 4, 1. 3, 6, 4, 1.
I'm gonna go get the rest of the popcorn.
Where are we? I'm losing myself. What? There we go. Too many friggin' windows open. Apologies, guys. Yeah, that was Wave Pig, New Zealand punk band down the road from me. They live here in Fundraiser, my city. I got kidnapped by them. Well, I want to call it I got kidnapped by them, but I went willingly to see their live concert last year, and and kind of like an underground record store live event, and it was really awesome. So I did a whole bunch of recording from them, and there's bits of it on this channel. Now, today, this weekend was Dynasty, right? So Dynasty is, for wrestling, it's a latest. So everything's sort of like trying to go automatically. I'm sure I got them all off, or, the pages on YouTube. So anyway, Apologies. Welcome to the show. One after the other. I was supposed to have Joachim Hagström, my artist, on Zealandia Fantastical Romy this morning, and I got it wrong. It was supposed to be like 8 o'clock at night, not 8 o'clock in the morning, because we're like 10 hours ahead of them. And so it was kind of like messed up. And so I apologize. So we've got it. It's going to be probably Saturday or Sunday this coming weekend, which is only a couple of days away. But yeah, I got a message like about 7 o'clock in the morning going, hey, I think, you know, I think we're supposed to be on later. Anyway, Joachim will be on this weekend, and I'm just going to have an awesome time talking to the Swedish comic book artist, amazing talent who's working with us. Now, one thing, today's topic is kind of, once again, ramblings is like we'll go from topic to topic depending on what's on the agenda. Yesterday, I talked about how food is like Chinese food is killing fake food, or post dated or whatever, future dated or old food is killing African kids. Now they found out those same foods are killing European kids and Chinese kids. So I'm going to start with that first, and let me make sure I've got the right one. And it's under carcinogens, I think. They talk about like all these different carcinogens that are in food, and that are additives and stuff. So here we go. This is, let me bring that over there. And I did part one yesterday, but that had to do with Africa. Now this has got to do with, everywhere right now, and this is especially for young babies and young ones, right? And that's why it's very important, because this is like your future. It's like you're destroying lives before they even have a chance to live. So that's why I find these things kind of like, important to talk about. And it's from Chinese people themselves saying, hey, something's got to be done about this. And in a way, it should be, but nobody's really going, hey, stop. Or, because as I mentioned yesterday with the African Diaspora channel, they were talking about how when they try to stop them, they go, oh, you're being racist towards Chinese people. But our kids are dying. Oh, yeah, but you're racist. You're intolerant. Yeah, but kids are dying. So they use that sort of excuse. So, you can check out yesterday's podcast about that. Now, let's look at this one here. Let me put that bigger, because I think that's a bit, because I don't think it would be better if it's bigger than me, so you guys can see what's on the title there and on the screen on the translation of this. So this is, this is from the channel is China Observer. Very good channel. Really, they pull no punches. They don't try to hide what's going on. They just tell you like it is from news broadcasts from all over the world. So they're really cool, and it's in English, right? And they'll have the subtitles of the people who are speaking, but it's in English, so you can read the subtitles or listen in. So it's a very good channel, and like I said, it's about kids. Especially that's what it's your future, right? If you're a parent, that's your future. That's being offspring's lives getting destroyed even before they have a chance to walk. In some cases.
Can you believe it? In a hospital in Guiyang, a 1-year-old girl was diagnosed with leukemia. Normally, most leukemia patients have a family history of the disease, but the parents of the girl firmly stated that no one in their family had ever had leukemia. After careful examination by doctors, it was discovered that the girl's leukemia was actually caused by imitation porcelain bowls. In recent years, imitation porcelain bowls have become popular plastic tableware with attractive appearances and vibrant colors, making them popular among parents and children. Many people couldn't believe that the common imitation porcelain bowls on the market actually contain toxic substances like formaldehyde and melamine.
In recent days, a certain public welfare organization conducted tests on different imitation porcelain tableware purchased from 3 e-commerce platforms, and the results showed that formaldehyde exceeded the standard by up to 77 times, and melamine exceeded the standard by up to 24 times. So, what harm can the excessive melamine and formaldehyde in inferior tableware bring to the human body? Melamine is an organic compound with slight toxicity. It is soluble not only in water, but also in acetic acid, formaldehyde, methanol, etc. If the human body ingests it for a long time and in large quantities, it may damage the urinary system, cause kidney stones, and once kidney stones form, they can easily block the renal tubules, leading to kidney failure. In particularly severe cases, kidney stones can also induce bladder cancer. For infants and young children whose organs are not yet fully developed and relatively fragile, this should be taken seriously.
又是这种玩具让一个9岁女孩的视
So
力
what they're basically trying to say, if you know, it also affects reproduction, which means as a child, if you're consuming this shit, you're going to grow up without being able to have children, right? It's basically like mutilating them before they even have the chance to actually just decide if they want children or not, just taking away that right from them. And it's despicable. And like, you know, and why do they do that? Because it's cheap, it's easy money, and it's greed. Really, it is greed, right? If you're harming children, there's no other thing apart from greed. You know, if you're trying to mutilate children, if you're trying to stop them being able to reproduce, that's greed. You know, you're basically putting money and your riches, your BMWs, whatever, your new house, you know, your beach home, whatever, you know, like we say here, a shack or a batch in New Zealand, right? Basically, it's greed. And it's like sad to see that. Like, it's so sad.
Here we go again with these toys. A 9-year-old girl's vision was completely damaged, with only 0.06 remaining, all because of a toy called Crystal Clay, which is essentially popular among children. But don't be fooled by its transparent appearance. It's actually a typical toxic toy, containing large amounts of heavy metals and borax. Borax, in particular, can cause poisoning with just 3 grams for adults and is lethal with 15 grams. The 9-year-old girl from Wuhan played with this crystal clay without washing her hands, and as a result, borax got into her eyes, corroding her corneas. This caused severe damage to her left eye. So, toys like these must be kept far away from kids.
Chinese e-commerce platforms such as AliExpress and Pinduoduo's overseas version, Temu, have seized a large market shares overseas with a low-price strategy. However, cheap goods pose significant safety hazards. Especially the quality problems of children's products have attracted widespread attention from the international community. According to the Korea Times report on April 8th, the Chinese e-commerce platform AliExpress has a very high market share in South Korea. The Seoul metropolitan government recently inspected 31 children's and household items and found that 8 of them contained excessive amounts of toxic substances. Among them, a children's leather bag contained 4 kinds of phthalates, exceeding the standard by 55.6 times. One of the phthalates, diethylhexyl phthalate, DEHP, is even classified as a carcinogen by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. Are plasticizers mainly used in the production of plastic products.
So you can
If
see
plastic
like a lot
toys
of
contain phthalates, they can cause great harm
like-
to babies.
you know,
These toys containing
so kids. Hey Nathaniel, how's it going, bud? Thanks for dropping by. So you've got chemicals in the kids' toys that are blinding them because kids are touching them and touching their eyes with them, you know, and then of course the eyes is going to get irritated. Then they touch it more, right? I mean, I've done that when I had when I had a nail, a fleck of like the iron in a nail just hit my eye, and I was thinking like, oh, I just got dust in it, so I started kind of rubbing it out. So I'm working all day at the comic shop, right, in my comic shop, and I'm rubbing my eye, going, there's something wrong with it. Then like 2 hours later, like by the time I go to close up around about 2 o'clock, because I open from at 10 till 2, it just doesn't go away, the pain. So I go and, you know, go to the hospital and realize there's a freaking shard of metal in my eye. And, you know, because they put the liquid in, the orange thing to find out. And so and all day I've been rubbing. So if I as an adult am rubbing in my eye, what do you think kids are going to do? So here's a liquid that they sell for, you know, like a liquid jelly for kids to play with. And, you know, it's got chemicals in it. Now the child's blind. A little baby's blind, you know, 2-3-year-olds blind because of that. It's just disgusting how, like, because of greed, they're willing to destroy lives of people around the world. And this is in Korea, right? Yesterday we talked about Africa, right? And so now, you know, I think also in Germany, or is it Denmark? They're onto it as well. They're finding out all the stuff that's coming across from Temu, right? Online shopping for kids, it's dangerous. Like 33% of that rubbish is dangerous for your kids. And nobody's telling you because nobody's actually paying attention because everybody wants cheap stuff, right? Cheap toys. Oh, I'm going to buy some cheap clothing, but you don't know what's in those. What has it been dyed with, right? And that's why I've been, on a Rambling Show, I've been talking about this a lot because of online, because we all want cheap stuff, but we don't know what's in them. And there is no follow-up either. If you complain and go, hey, something's happened, that person's already disappeared. That company's already gone and they've come back on under another name, right?
Phthalates will contaminate the fingers of many infants and young children. Infants and young children often ingest phthalates by putting their hands in their mouths, which can harm their reproductive, immune, endocrine, and nervous systems.
Hey, Nathaniel, if you have any kids, man, would you like to come on and, not only if you have kids, but would you like to jump on and have a chat? Talking about today, we're going to talk about wrestling as well, as well as SNL, and there's some other stuff on here as well. If you're interested, I'll send you a link. But yeah, let's carry on with this. So look at this, harm to reproductive. Like, these are young kids, children, whose immunes are being harmed, whose nervous system, and my nervous system's been messed up by car accident, neck and spine. So I know what that's like. I don't know what endocrine is. I think that's got to do, yeah, I'll have to look at that. But immune system, like with your, diseases and stuff. If that's being messed up, well, that means you can't fight off, diseases.
In addition, phthalates can also affect the appetite and digestive function of infants and young children, and even lead to early puberty.
Oh, wow.
In addition to leather bags, South Korea also inspected a swimming ring on AliExpress, which detected phthalate exceeding the standard by 33 times and was too thin to meet Korean standards, posing a safety risk. Another inspection found a significant level of toxic substances in a baby walker, candy-shaped teethers, and banana-shaped teethers. Design defects may block the trachea and cause children to choke when they fall.
So it's babies are
Wooden
being
magnetic fishing
targeted.
toys, cartoon pencils,
Wait.
and eraser pencils also contain varying degrees of excessive toxic substances. The Seoul Metropolitan Government stated that it will expand the scope of inspections to other Chinese e-commerce platforms, Temu and Shein, and release inspection results every week and set up a hotline to handle consumer complaints about overseas products. In addition, on April 8th, the Incheon General Customs of South Korea stated that the recent analysis of low-priced jewelry sold by Chinese e-commerce platforms such as AliExpress and Temu showed that out of 404 products tested, 96, which is 24%, contained carcinogens such as cadmium and lead that exceeded the domestic safety standards by 10 to 700 times. These jewelry include earrings, rings, etc., with prices ranging from 600 to 4,000 Korean won. In terms of sales platforms, out of 180 samples sold on AliExpress, 48 were unqualified. Out of 224 samples
40%.
sold on Temu, the same number was unqualified. Cadmium poisoning may cause diseases of the respiratory system, kidney system, and digestive system. Lead poisoning may cause diseases of the central nervous system, digestive system, and reproductive system. To prevent consumers from suffering losses, Incheon Customs plans to cooperate with relevant departments to strengthen customs clearance management and supervision of products containing harmful ingredients that have been detected and require relevant platforms to stop selling these products. Last year, China's market share in South Korea's cross-border e-commerce shopping market surpassed that of the
So the problem here is, right, they can do all the checks and balances, but as we know, especially in China, there's a lot of bribery of leadership, like from town, like you can bribe the cops, you can bribe the business sector and all that, and it's fine. And this is similar in India as well. And so I always get, I had a neighbor who said, oh, if you're in the cops, they get to you straight away. Yeah, but you have to pay them, right? To find out somebody, you have to pay them, right? Cash up, mate. We'll go catch your boy. And so just like that, the customs, it's like the whole thing about China, right? With the Great Wall. You build a Great Wall, but people got through because the person who's looking after it just let them go through, right? There's the same thing with border control, right? It's the same thing. You can bribe people to let you through. So if you got enough money, you're your dangerous product for children and babies will go through, and it'll be past this. Oh, it's fine. And so this is destroying trust in business. And so this is going to be, I think we in the West need to be wise to what's coming across the border, right? Especially if it's cheap, especially if it's, like they say, right? If it's cheap, well, you got to ask, why is it cheap, right? And so on.
The United States for the first time, becoming South Korea's largest overseas shopping market. In 2023, the total value of goods purchased from overseas by South Korea reached 6.8 trillion Korean won, about $4.9 billion US, of which 48.7% came from China. Yeah. AliExpress had a monthly active user base of 8.18 million in South Korea, second only to South Korea's local online shopper Coupang. The sale of children's products in China has always been a relatively lucrative industry. The total annual consumption of the pregnancy, baby, and child products market reaches as high as 80 billion. Tempted by huge profits, many merchants spare no effort to produce counterfeit and inferior products to make huge profits. Every year in China, various toxic children's shoes are reported, with the most common containing excessive phthalates. In some children's shoes, the plasticizers even exceed the national standard by nearly 500 times.
Whoa.
I have 2 daughters at home, and I've been a dad for 7 years. I never thought that buying the wrong shoes for children could lead to early puberty in girls or feminization in boys. Recently, the Beijing Market Supervision Administration tested 89 pairs of children's shoes, and 29 pairs were found to be unqualified. Among
early puberty in children, the chemicals, like the guy said, he didn't know that his child's shoes would cause early puberty in his children, or feminization, which means lowering the testosterone, right, in boys. And you can see that, right? Like, if you really think about it, right, and I'm not trying to be facetious about this, but you can see that a lot of Gen Zers are very feminine, right? Effeminate. Is it effeminate? Feminine? You know what I mean, right? And you could say, like, the chemicals in your frigging clothes. Because here's the thing, like, once you find out what chemicals can do what, and then you trace them to something, then you figure out what's causing it, right? And a lot of people are doing the whole soy milk and all that. Not even talking about that. This is actual carcinogens, right? These are actual chemicals that can neuter you. Basically, that's what it is, right? It's neutering of kids and reproductive systems. I mean, like I said, like, they don't have a choice. As you grow up, go, oh, do I want to have children or not? Do I want to raise a family or not? This is taking away choice. That's why I'm so against the whole, the trans movement of children. It's like you're taking away the choices even before they have a chance and understanding what that means for them, right? Anything before 18, just stay the hell away from kids, right? Because we used to believe in protecting children. I think we don't do that anymore because of tolerance or that thing. And that's just sad. Like I said, Africa, you're racist against Chinese because you want to shut down the shops that are selling poison to your kids, right? Just using like labels and stuff to silence people for serious concerns, right? Their kids are dying. So now you're saying, well, you can't shut down that shop that's selling your children poison biscuits because you're racist. Yeah, I think labels are just wasted time, and labels are used to like shut people up while the poison still goes on, while the dangerous people still do their dangerous thing for the name of greed.
Among them, the highest excess was 470 times the limit for phthalates. People always think that buying big brands ensures better quality, but it turns out that the overall unqualified rate for big brands is 30%. Among the more than 40 pairs of shoes in my house, at least 10 pairs or more are unqualified toxic children's shoes. That's a 1 in 4 chance.
Furthermore, it is hard to imagine that infant diapers sold by various e-commerce platforms from China are possibly made from used diapers.
These unscrupulous merchants are selling packs of diapers for just 2 cents each, claiming it can reduce the cost of raising children. How can you make a profit selling them at this price? The sales volume is really impressive. Online stores are buying over 100,000 packs each. and they tell you to use them with confidence, not to worry. But when you open them, they're clearly substandard products. These unethical workshops collect scraps and expired diapers from outside, sort them out, repackage them, and then sell them to your children to wear. Their staff say they definitely wouldn't let their own children wear these diapers. Some of them even have bugs inside, and the bacteria levels are way too high. Plus, they're not breathable at all. If you make your child wear these diapers, diaper rash and allergies are inevitable.
你看一袋一袋藏着不要的垃圾，拿回来自己再挑拣的。
Look, bags of unwanted garbage are brought back from the factory. Pick and choose by yourself. This one's expired, lacks manufacturer information, and all are unqualified in terms of hygiene. But does Pinduoduo conduct inspections? There's no such thing. They won't check, right? Pinduoduo fully knows how poor our quality is, but they are unwilling to eliminate us. Pinduoduo relies on our low prices to maintain customers. If they eliminate us, Pinduoduo won't thrive. Pinduoduo can only turn a blind eye. It's survival of the boldest in business. The timid ones will starve.
Netizens visiting the site found that these simply packaged diapers were actually factory waste junk, with flies buzzing around on the scene. These unscrupulous workshops produce fake first-class diapers, which are sold on Pinduoduo, with one workshop selling millions of pieces per month. Cases of product injuries caused by children's toys are rampant every year. The internet-famous explosive bag toy, also known as hand grenade small explosive bag, firecracker simulated hand grenade, etc., comes in various outer packaging designs, with hand grenade and firecracker shapes being predominant. Some not only explode after being pinched, but also emit a pungent odor. On March 19th, Chinese reporters visited multiple locations nationwide and found many stationery stores near elementary schools selling such explosives and stink bombs. Not only are they selling well around campuses, but sales on some online shopping platforms are also remarkably high. Yingying Toys Company Limited in Dongyang City, Zhejiang Province, produces explosive bags and stink bombs. The workers said they could produce 1 million explosive bags in a day. According to the Guangzhou Market Supervision Department, the sulfur dioxide produced by these stink bomb toys is an acute poison. Inhaling a small amount of high-concentration sulfur dioxide can be fatal within a short time. Low concentrations of sulfur dioxide affect the eyes, respiratory system, and central nervous system. Plastic toys are the most prevalent among all Chinese-made inferior toy products, with particular concern over the inferior plastic toys produced from recycled medical waste plastic bottles and discarded plastic gloves, which are crushed by homemade grinders and directly turned into raw materials for children's toys. The quality and safety issues of such inferior toys can seriously jeopardize children's health. A pediatric expert at a hospital at Hongshui said that some inferior plastic toys often contain excessive amounts of harmful substances such as PVC, formaldehyde, benzene, lead, mercury, and chromium. Regular contact may cause skin allergies in children and damage to the upper respiratory tract and nervous system. Children may inadvertently ingest them during long periods of play. Although the harm of some inferior plastic products may not be immediately apparent, it accumulates over time and can lead to liver and skeletal damage. Almost every family in China is experiencing an unprecedented scam, with nearly everyone falling victim to.
So over Christmas time and just after and just going into Christmas, there was a huge outbreak of leukemia, of carcinogens in China. Like I was following it because I've been looking at this for the last few months and just seeing what's going on there, because there was a lot of people like being really having weird diseases. One guy had like about 40 different types of was it like cancer? And I was like, how is that going on? What's that happening? And so they found this fake food, like, you know, you've now like fake food, you got toys, you got the stuff in the water, you got stuff, chemicals in the food, you know, the way they're like being, it's seriously, it's like some of the stuff I don't want to talk about because it's so disgusting what they do. And, you know, and then you're like, oh yeah, it's because you've been racist. No, it's harming their own people, right? So how can you know, and so basically they are saying like, this is what's happening to our people. And these things are going overseas now, harming Koreans, harming Denmark, Danish people, is it Danish? And also Africa, right? Wherever people want cheap stuff, right? Like dollar stores, $2 stores, $5 stores, whatever, you're going to probably find something like this in there that's, because it's fake, right? So like anything that's kind of fake, they've cut corners to make them, right? It's not the real thing. So they've also using products to make them that isn't real. So you're going to have like a lot of, what like this lady's saying, there's someone profiting off the of people getting sick, right? Of children's getting sick, of babies not being, having the respiratory system breaking down, getting, leukemia, a child going blind because there's a jelly product, we showed earlier, where they're touching it and touch their eye, and next thing you know, she's got blind, 40% of her blind. She's blind 40% now in her eye, in one eye, the one that she touched, right? Imagine kids touching both eyes, so they're going to be growing up blind because of the toy.
To the scams meticulously crafted by profiteering businessmen. In order to make dirty money, they have completely disregarded moral boundaries. You have to willingly walk right into their trap, and that's the parenting scam in China. Have you noticed that in recent years there are more and more products specifically for children? There are children's instant noodles, children's drinks, children's soy sauce, children's toothpaste, children's soap, children's shower gel. They claim to have no chemical additives and can supplement various elements. Just by adding the words children's, the price doubles at least. Parents desperately buy the best products for their children to eat and use, thinking that they're safe. But in fact, many professional testing institutions have found that many so-called child-safe products are even worse in quality than those for adults. They add various additives and seasonings that children like just to please them. After children eat them, parents ask, "Is it delicious, baby?" If the child says it's delicious, parents keep buying. These specially made products for children may even cause greater harm to their bodies. As China entered an era of negative population growth, with fewer newborns, competition in the maternal and baby industry will become more fierce. As a popular brand in the maternity and baby industry, baby care has been penalized by Chinese regulatory agencies multiple times due to product quality issues. In August 2022, the Shanghai Market Supervision Bureau conducted supervisory spot checks on 20 batches of children's beds. Of these, 6 batches were found to be substandard. The substandard samples involved baby care, Parklera baby beds, with the reasons for the non-compliance being inaccurate or non-standard wood material labeling, which may mislead consumers. At the same time, in a comparative test of 26 batches of children's strollers from different sales channels and brands organized by the Jiangsu Provincial Consumer Protection Committee and professional testing institutions, BabyCare 8700's children's strollers were found to contain more than 3 times the standard level of phthalates in some materials used. Not only that, on the consumer complaint platform Black Cat Complaints, searching with the keyword BabyCare reveals as many as 675 complaint cases. Reasons for complaints mostly are related to product quality issues, such as selling diapers with live worms, baby allergic reactions to diapers, burning out the inner liner of the bottle sterilizer, and so on. In 2014, BabyCare entered the maternity and baby market from baby carriers and has now developed into a full category maternity and baby brand with multiple sub-brands including Woo Baby, Ouya, Mommy Care, BC Kid, etc. Products categories include diapers, children's clothing, snacks, strollers, and mosquito repellents, among others. In fact, it's not just baby care. The maternity and baby brand Kids Want has also been penalized by regulatory authorities for being unable to guarantee product quality. According to the prospectus submitted by Kids Want in September 2001, the company and its subsidiaries received a total of 50 administrative penalties from 2018 to 2020, with as many as 28 of them being for selling substandard goods. Many netizens complain that it's really difficult for parents nowadays. They have to be careful about what they eat and what they wear, but most are ordinary people. Why should consumers have to be so vigilant about the products on the market? Why can't quality be controlled from the source? Chinese online writer Mr. Chu believes that counterfeit and shoddy products are rampant in China because companies pursue maximum profits with short-term gain, regardless of reputation. This reflects the instability of Chinese society, both politically and economically. Every social shock will cause instability in wealth and uncertainty in life. It is this exact social environment that provides such speculative and short-sighted behavior. Chu said that under the rule of the CCP, society is turbulent and people find it difficult to survive. In the process of pursuing maximum profits, many businesses disregard reputation and consumer health. Li Yuanhua, a China expert and former associate professor of history education at Capital Normal University in China, said that many Chinese products are priced very low, not only because of infringement or theft of intellectual property, but also because they are using prohibited or even toxic substances in order to reduce costs. Most of them are shoddy, and it is difficult for ordinary consumers to distinguish. Li called on all countries to enact regulations, cancel tariff exemptions, and impose certain constraints and testing on online shopping products to prevent infringements, inferior and toxic Chinese goods from reaching consumers in various countries.
So that was from China Observer. Very, very good, very good channel to learn, and the reason, I talk about this and bring this up is because it affects worldwide. You think, oh, it's going to stay in China. No, because it's online, right? It's on Temu. This is where you go to buy your cheap product, right? And who doesn't want cheap product, right? But you get fake stuff. Well, like I said, about 30 to 40% of chance it's harmful to you, right? Because of the product that's in there, of the chemicals that they use with it to make it. Like, gosh, they were washing pig meat, like actual meat, old pig meat and dye. So, and they were selling at their own markets in China so it looks more, looks healthy, right? So it looks pink and not gray, right? And so they're doing it to their own people. So it's going to be cheaper to put that overseas, right? Especially dollar stores, like I mentioned. You don't know what's in there, and everything, you want to buy cheap products for your kids and stuff. You don't want to go buy the real Lego, so you buy fake Lego, and you don't know what chemicals have been used in making that, right? And so not only that, so many stuff, right? And just showed that video, with all of that in there. So, there's other stuff here, right? So fake food, toxic foods, right? This is from 2 years ago, right? But like now they're talking about recently, right? Just the other day. Why do I keep saying right? Sorry, apologies for saying right. Because what's happening there is that people aren't able to make money to survive. So they're cutting corners to make fake stuff to get, to pay bills. And we go, oh, we feel sorry for you. Yeah, but then you're harming everybody else, right? That's why Africa is basically saying, like, we're going to kick you out of the country because if you continue this, you're harming our children, right? So yeah, and it's been going on for 2 years ago here. Fake and toxic food, do not eat, right? And also, this is in the West now. You can't stop it because people just buy off online or from the market, for the $2 store, $1 store in any town, like we've got them here. So, and you don't know because you don't know who's been bribed to send across, at customs, right, at the border control to send those products over. And it's kind of a sad thing, and it's you kind of wish that people wouldn't be like that, but when it comes down to it, greed is one of the biggest things, right? Lusting after somebody else's property, it's greed for somebody else's property, right? And so you want money, and you'll cut corners to get money, right? So be wary, right? That's why I put up that's why we put these on the Rambling Show, right? Because it's about being aware, right? You don't know what's going on unless you're aware. And a lot of times your news channels aren't talking about that. They're all about, ideologues, all about like who's protesting who and stuff, but you never hear about, hey, there's poison in your food. Because people don't want to hear that. They just want to go on about their lives and, be at peace. But these things are happening, and it's quite sad that unless people die, unless kids die especially, that's when people go, hey, hold on, something's wrong here. But a lot of times with these chemicals, like the lady said, it doesn't happen overnight. It might take a year or two. And that's what China's found out with all these like diseases they've got. All of a sudden, there was like a huge influx of people going into the friggin' hospitals were all packed out because why does this guy have like 14 different cancers or such? Right? Where do they come from? And like they realize it's all these chemicals, it's all catching up to them years later. And sadly, it just sucks because, we don't have like tighter sort of restrictions about what's coming into our countries. And when you do it, say it, and they go accuse you of being racist or xenophobic. So you're like, oh, well, you can't be too tough on them. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, do you want your people to die, your own citizens to die because you're not tough on somebody else? Right? I mean, you should be looking after your own countrymen first, right? But politics is, that's what politics is, right? It's all about like looking good at the end of the day. So let's switch to something funny. A bit of SNL. Well, probably, hopefully I won't get, channel struck. But I mean, not struck, but I mean shut down, blanked out or something. But this was funny. I saw this the other day. It was like pretty cool. So I'm going to speed it up a bit to give it a bit of movement. And it's 2 minutes long. It's friggin' 9 years old, right? From SNL when they actually were funny, right? Now they're not that funny at all. It's hard to find anything funny from SNL now. Probably one or two out of the entire, is it like 2 hour show? Hey Ross, how's it going, man? Yeah, like I said, when they used to be funny, right? But now it's like, hands off, we can't talk about that, Right, let's see what else we got. We got this is to do with comics. This is comics and rambling show, so let's talk about this, right? So I haven't talked about this, I haven't brought this up because, we're not a great big channel, so I just felt like nothing I could say about it was going to be, make a difference. But I'm hoping that,
Let me look at you guys in the chat and what you're saying here. What happened with Cecil and John? What happened with Cecil and John? Let's tell the story. So we all wanted to go to C2E2. John and Shane, and then they invited me, sought to get a table, a booth at C2E2 and sell our comic books. And C2E2 agreed, and they took our money, and we were going to go to C2E2 in Chicago. But then an SJW within C2E2 found out that I was going to be there and John was going to be there. Shane was allowed to go. This is the whole thing. Like, Shane hasn't caused enough trouble yet. That's what I tell him. Why is Shane allowed to go? Because he hasn't caused enough trouble. Why are these other people allowed to go to conventions? Because they don't matter. Like, nobody's afraid of them. Nobody sees them as like a valid threat in the culture war. They're just silly. Like, letting me and John onto the premises of a mainstream comics convention in the heart of Chicago, which is culturally far leftist, was terrifying to certain people, individuals within C2E2. We've identified them. They are men who dress like women. Anyway, so they canceled us. They said, no, we're not going to, you can't just come in here. No. Which is something I figured would happen. John knew it would happen too. Like, he knew it might happen. He thought it was a possibility. What happened was the Comicsgate Kings responded to it. People who you'd expect, oh, they were canceled, this was a news story. It's kind of a news story within our sphere. But on the other hand, some people, the zeros, Zero, those people did not cover it at all. Anna lost her press pass. From what I understand, Neurotic did too. But anyway, no, they didn't mention me and John and Shane. They didn't talk about it. Now, here's the thing. Do we expect it? No, I don't expect anything from them. I expect them to do what's expedient to them. To me, I don't think they're going to go out of their way. I don't see them as serious cultural warriors at all. I see them as clowns talking about Star Wars and reciting safe talking points that were already well established by people like me and your boy Zach. They just repeat what we said 7 years ago, and then they just wait for super chats to come in. Are they really on the edge? Would they really take a chance? Would they really gamble and risk anything? Do they have actual principles to say, we don't like Ethan and John, we don't even know if we like Shane Davis, but cancel culture is wrong, and this is cancel culture? That's what a serious culture warrior would do. I don't like all of these people all the time. Like, I wasn't a big fan of Alex Jones. Now I am. But I wasn't at the time, and I reacted to Alex Jones getting thrown. Yeah, you have to, because it's wrong. Some of these guys, it's just, you might not agree with what they're saying, but if you recognize that there is a force that's quieting down a certain segment of the population by disallowing them to participate, you've got to respond to that. So John Malin, I just kind of went, yeah, this sucks, blah, blah, blah. I was not expecting anything from the zeros. It doesn't matter how many trash casts I do exposing these guys. John was actually surprised. John goes, wait a second. So somebody puts a puppet of Miss Piggy next to Nerdrotic's wife and the world goes insane,
But like 3 comic skaters get disallowed from a big convention, a mainstream convention. They get blacklisted from that convention for no reason. I mean, just the reason given was you're going to make people feel unsafe with your gender ideology. What you have said in the past makes it harassment for you to be there. Just our being there because of things that we've said in the past about gender ideology and we disagree with this and that disallows us, that bars us from attending Chicago Comic. That's stupid. It's not fair. It's dumb. And clearly there are pussies that are in charge of all of this stuff. Anyway, John came out and said, you guys all responded to cancel culture when Ed Piz score was canceled. He's like, what do I have to do? Blow my brains out to get a reaction from people within our sphere? That was bad. When John said that, people went, whoa, John. But John's fiery. He's making a good point. And then John came out and he said something similar, like, oh, I see. So Miss Piggy, blah, blah, blah. And everybody throws a shit fit, but we get canceled. Nobody says anything, right? Nobody says nothing. Cecil came out and he basically responded to John by saying, those posts, you're like a pussy. You're like begging for help from these guys. Oh, help me, blah, blah, blah. Called him feminine. He called him a pussy. You don't say stuff like that to John. It's just not who John Malin is. It's also not who a friend is. It's not what a friend would do. That has been largely the crux of the problem here. And the fans are responding. You know, it's like you guys are great. I had this moment here that was terrific. Like Cecil reacted big time. Big time. He's like, this ain't it, Comicsgate, to Mrs. Nerdrotic getting a picture of Miss Piggy next to her. Cecil was like, this ain't it. Oh my God. But Cecil wouldn't respond to, Cecil would not be protective of his friend John Malin. This came in, which is funny. Cool. Thank you.
Great. 200 Watt Studio for 2. Best Jack show ever. Trevor Bruce for 5.
I will Turkish wrestle John any day of the week.
Hey, Cecil, try being a friend of John the way you're a friend of Gary's wife.
Whoa! That was great. I love it. So that's kind of what's going on now. Cecil was drunk when he was on the Jack show saying these things to John. It seemed way out of line with the relationship, friendship that Cecil has with everybody on the Jack show and with John. I'm not somebody who's going to cancel Cecil. I hope they work things out. I don't want Cecil to go away, but like a lot of people are just like, hey, Cecil like coming after not just John Malin but Comicsgate by saying this ain't it, Comicsgate. Bullshit. Of course it is. What are you talking about? It's very much Comicsgate. I mean, this is just our entire sphere does things like this. You know, it's just memes, jokes every now and then. To be like hypercritical and meme police Comicsgate, like no, fuck that. No, we're gonna do whatever we want to do. So that just seemed to me like Cecil was doing a little. You'd have to guess at what his motivations are, but the most obvious motivation that you could guess about was like, oh, he's like social climbing. This is clout chasing. If I am seen to condemn my friends on behalf of Gary Nerdrotic, who was a powerful, influential YouTuber for some fucking reason in this space, then maybe I'll get more party invites. Maybe it's going to help me. Here's the thing about
it. And he's right about like Nerdrotic and Gary. I mean, I used to watch them all, a couple of years back, and now it's all the same stuff, right? They're just Star Wars. I like at the end of last year, I was like, I don't like Star Wars, what's happening with it, so I'm just going to move on, not even talk about it, you know. And like after hearing those guys talk about it for about 5 odd years, almost every show, you kind of get tired of hearing the same crap. Even if I'm talking about the same crap to you guys for 5 years, and you guys are going to get tired of that as well, because you want fresh stuff. I mean, I want fresh stuff. I get bored easily, you know. That's why like I'm working on different genres of comic books all the time. Supernatural, horror, fantasy, crime drama, parallel universes, anthropomorphic, cartoons with half animal, half humanized animals, right? Kind of like that, like because like anybody else, I want to be entertained, and after a while I get bored, and so that's why like must have been about 5 years now I just stopped listening to all those channels. And I was like, because for me, like the way I've got my studio apartment set up is like my TV's right at my bed, at my feet. So I'll wake up and look what's on YouTube. I don't watch TV at all. I don't even have TV tuned in. So I just turn on computer's asleep, turn it on, log on, see what's going on YouTube and what's the news going on, what's something fun, what's the latest on the wrestling, you know, what's the news of the update this week, who's got fired, who hasn't, who's talking about what, what's going on in comic books. And so, you know, if you've seen the same thing over and again, you get bored. But one thing that's really interesting I found was like these channels, because they got like a million viewers, right? They get about 4,000 whatever every time they do live streams. Okay, but I'm kind of wondering, like, when do people get tired of hearing the same thing? Because I mean, I got tired 5 years ago, right? Yeah, I think about 5 years ago I got tired because I stopped just, you know, like all these big channels. It's like, unless you're talking about like something new, I'm out, right? And I feel the same way about my channel. Like if I'm doing anything, that's why I like always love getting new people on here, because I like having talking to them about their perspective on things, their views on art, their views on comic books, their views on movies and stuff. Because I find that like if I'm talking by myself all the time, I get bored of myself, right? I'm like, stop, you know, put on something while you're doing this instead of just mouthing off, right? So if I'm like that, I expect at least 90% of the people in the world to be like that as well, who's watching YouTube. I mean, like I watch documentaries. Like seriously, yesterday I watched a guy build like I think it was an hour long, like rebuild a freaking 1950s rust bucket of a Jawa, never heard of it, motorbike. Like he took it apart, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, you know, I'm going, wow, man, like look at all the friggin' art in there. Look at every nut and bolt, every friggin' you know, I can't even remember. I'm, you know, when I was like in my mid-teens or late teens, like 15, 16, 17, I used to be into Harleys, right? Into Triumph motorbikes. My mate had a Triumph. I got a ride on it. My dad had a Yamaha, or Honda, and I wrecked it basically by putting, you know, it was supposed to be two-stroke, and I put oil in the, you know, didn't do two-stroke, and just smoked it out, and I was like, freaking hated myself for it, because that would have been my vehicle, and I did not know that. And anyway, so, and I had friends who had Harleys and Yamahas, and so I was really into it. But I can't pull apart a freaking, you know. Oh, by the way, I have a scooter that like I like after 2 years of just sitting there, I forgot to like you know, start it after about 3 months, and it just basically froze. So my friend has it at his home. He's going to turn it into a trike, so I could just sit on it, like, you know, not worry about falling over or something on two wheels. So as I get into my, you know, 55 onwards, so he's building that for me, right? A trike out of a scooter, and I'm, you know, because he is minded that way, and so you know, so I was like, yo, you know, I love watching people pull apart stuff and you know, refurbish it. Like I don't know what the word is that called, man. You know, just you know, take vintage stuff that's like old, and you know, kind of like fix it and stuff. It was so cool watching this guy do it. I was like, for entire hour I spent doing that, right? And I think he's from Europe, and it was really cool watching that. It's like he took apart the entire thing, like the entire thing, right? The lights, the wires inside, and repainted it, fixed it, showed you how he fixed it, hammered it out wherever the dents was and stuff. And some stuff that had to be new, like a chain, right? The chain link had to be brand new, so you got that. There was some other pieces had to be real, you know, new. Ball bearings that had been rusted had to get, you know, new to fix that. But I'm looking at that, I'm going, wow, look at all the artist that has designed that, right? Because nothing that is actually, like if you look at a car, an artist has designed that. So this is when you go, oh, you know, AI is going to fix everything. No, it's not. AI artists, nothing, because they don't understand the ergonomics of things. Like when you say ergonomics, it's like, how does it feel when you sit on a chair? Does it hurt your back? You know, is it comfortable? Does it, you know, this is the ergonomics of it. So like, how does it feel when you get in, sit on a motorbike, right? Is it all clunky, or is that beautiful seat that is designed by an artist, right? And then by the upholsterer, right, who's also an artist, knows how to like cut it to size so it fits on there. And I, you know, all these things like really amaze me when I see that. I think it's really cool to see that. And that's what I love about artists. But like there's so much amazing stuff on YouTube that's now available. Like I was watching this guy in Azerbaijan, like in like Middle East somewhere, Europe, and he was like over like a month, right? Because he sped it up and all that, kind of edited the video and stuff. How he what was it called, like when they hang beef, right? So they put all the stuff on it and they air it out and they hang it and they press it, and so all the liquid is out and all that's left is the dry meat, right? And then you cut that up and you cook that. And this is like when you because like in the old days you didn't have a fridge or freezer, right? So you basically had to dry out the meat like in the sun and cover it so the bugs don't get into it. And so this guy was doing that. I'm watching a 2-hour show, just of the guy doing that. And this is what I love about having access to why would you want to watch some dumb old TV show when you can just switch to a beautiful documentary of real people doing real things, putting together a car, right? Or putting a motorbike, or learning how to clean your house. Like I watched this lady last year, must be end of last year, how to clean your toilet, right? If it starts getting a bit dirty and it gets stained and doesn't, how to do that, right? And it's we have such amazing, and this is why network TV is dying, because there's real people on YouTube talking about real things, right? That's going on at that moment. And there's videos and like freaking millions of videos out there by real people, producing great content that TV can't produce, right? Because it's not all, like you have executive producers say, do this and do that. Oh, we'll give you this money if you do that. There you got mum there going, okay, this is how you put on makeup, or someone there going, okay, this is how you can invest, right? Or someone there giving you lawyer's advice that you didn't think about, how to protect your right as an artist, right? How to run your business, how to do your taxes, right? You don't see it on TV, because if it is there, it's on there for about 5 minutes, right? But like, I think this way we have such amazing stuff. And that's why, like, I mean, with, this whole, for me, like the reason I want to show this video with, Ethan Van Sciver, right? Is because he's talking about something that's important in a way that a lot of us don't understand. It's about standing for something, because when you don't stand for something, when it's happening to somebody else, nobody's going to be there for when that happens to you. That's one of the most important things I learned about back in the 90s when I was looking at like World War II, right? When the religious Catholic Church or the Greek Orthodox or whoever was there at that time during World War II, they said, there's like one of the big heads, the bishops there said, there's a poem about it. When they came for them, we ignored it. Then they came for our enemies, we ignored it. Then they came for our neighbors, we ignored it. Then they came for our relative, we ignored it. Then they came for us, and there was nobody to help us. And that's the reason, I think it's important to, you can hate you can hate people, but at least look at what is being said. And what is important is that if you don't stand up for what's going on, nobody's going to be able to stand up for you when it's your turn, when you're about to get cancelled. When I remember when I was getting cancelled, right, here, and one of my friends, one of my Asian friends said, "Hey, what's going on with this?" I was like, "Dude, I said this because I don't speak my own language, and so I was wanting someone who spoke Mandarin or Cantonese who could also speak good English, right?" And they basically jumped down my throat and tried to cancel me. So, and he was like, "Oh, it's pretty stupid, isn't it?" But yeah, for about a whole month, I had to deal with it. I even was thinking, like, I talked to my lawyer. I said, "Dude, what do you think, man? Because this could harm a 15K business deal that involves my friends. Like 6 of my friends were going to get money, from 10K was going to go towards them, or maybe more than 10K, right? I think it was about 12K. They were going to, they were going to get paid for working. And so, like, the thing here is, like, this is what I like what happened with Ed Piscor, right? When he, when he killed himself because of people thinking away. I wasn't hating on the people that actually were out there as much as I was hating on his own friend Jim Rugg, because I was like, you were his last crutch, right? Like, I walk with a cane. You're his cane holding him up, and you distance yourself as his friend. And and that's why I say, like, that's why, if you look at like the what is it called, the Pilgrim's Progress, right? That book, it talks about those 9 levels of hell or something. And I've had to look at that because I'm doing Templeton, right? I'm doing actually, I should bring it up. I'll show you this. Let me just pop out of this one here. So there you are. Good on you. Still here with me. So I'm just going to bring up, like, we've got like a 12-page, one page is just the kind of advertising, which is going to be part of the carry on from the 11 pages in a new book. I was interviewing Gary Della. He was on our Kiwis and comic book shows that we're doing, haven't done it for a month now, about like his publishing, comic publishing business over in Australia. And he said, hey, I was showing him, Sunspot, our magazine, which you can buy, I'll put up a link soon, for about, I think, a couple bucks, right? 64-page full color magazine with articles and all that, and comics, 40 pages of comics. And I showed him that one of them had this work in it. And he said, oh, we haven't printed this. It's only a PDF. And so I'm thinking about printing it. He said, well, have you still, like, is a lettering on the same, have you got it separate? I said, yeah. I've always, always keep the art separate from the lettering. It's layers, all that. And then he said, oh, if you want, you can put in my anthology. And I said, okay, let me look at it. Let's see where all that work is. And so I went and found the work, and I found that there was more pages that that hadn't looked at, because it's been a while. 5 years the last time I looked at it. But prior to that, we almost had like about most of a first issue of a comic done. So so he's, so I looked at it and said, hey, look, I might actually have new pages for you to work with. And so when I was looking, when I looked at it, I was like, this is pretty cool. It'd be good to put a new story in. And then I put it up, and then Joachim, who I will be interviewing this week, right, this weekend, hopefully, if all goes well. And I said to him, I said, hey, let me find the page. Oh, no, I didn't say anything to him. So he saw me post about it, and I said, look, some of the pages are, still penciled, they're not inked. And he said, hey, I'd like to, I'll sort it out. I'll link it. I said, okay, well, here's the pages. And so sent it to him, and he said he spent a couple of days inking it for me, and I was so happy, because it just meant that, like, I didn't have to do it, because I don't like to work on other people's work, because it's something that, like, I just feel like I don't want to ruin it. But the only thing I usually ink is ink, right, and or Illustrator's ink, because that's something very different, because it's a very unique thing itself. For me, I'll do coloring, and I can, I'm okay with that. So this is now, let me see. I'll bring up this page here so you can see this art. So this is one that was like I had problems with, because when it got scanned, when it was sent to me, let me bring it. Oh, it won't come up. So when it got scanned, got scanned in 4 pieces, right? So it was like 4 pieces here. It was like A4 size, so it was like scanned into 4 pieces, because he didn't have a huge A2 size scanner. And so what Joachim did was that he went across and redid the lines to make it work, so that they came together, so there wasn't big, huge gaps between them around here and stuff. And so this is the piece, in hell and stuff. And so I had a bit of fun with this. I don't want to give away the story. I redid the entire story from scratch. I rewrote these 12 pages or 11 pages, right? So that that you know, when Gary prints it in his anthology over in the US, I mean in Australia, sorry, you get a new story and with new art, and you know, and everything's redone, so it's fresh. So you're not like having read it and then have to, you know, pay for it, same story. And I had fun with the story because, you know, I actually, the only character that is exists in this is Placenta, who's one of the main characters, kind of like a side character. You know, there's two main characters in Templeton, and so this is Templeton Behemoth 2.0, right? And so 11 pages of a story and redone, right? This is a 2-page, you know, it's like a splash, 2-page splash. And a lot of crazy stuff's happening here in hell, right? And so it's really, really well done. I kind of like think of like, it's like almost like a Barry Windsor Smith sort of art style. You know, it's very detailed. The line work's very similar. Kind of like if you look at Swamp Thing and stuff, it's kind of like that, you know. But you know, it's just love. You know, I love the way the original artist Armando de la Cruz. I've lost all contact with him, so you know, this is like about 15 odd years ago, 14 odd years ago, and so you know, I got to have a bit of fun with the story retelling. So here's, you know, this is the Circles of Hell, right? So treachery. This is what I meant. What I was talking about, Jim Rugg, right? Treachery is like the, you know, the deepest level of hell, you know, where you've like betrayed your friends, betrayed your family, you know, people that rely upon you and you're treacherous to them, or a traitor to your country, right? And so it's something like that, you know, like living in America, going death to America, right? Something like that, or like, you know, or right, basically raising somebody else's flag and not your own country's flag, right? Stuff like that. It's kind of like, that's what I feel anyway. I am a, in my honest opinion, right? I am a HO. But yeah, so this is, you know, this is something that, you know, like I said, did about 14 odd years ago. So, you know, I felt like it was really cool. Like we get printed, you know, we get printed an Australian comic book before we get printed, you know, we bring out Templeton ourselves, which, but today I got page 4 of issue 2 today for Templeton Horizon 4. Templeton itself is, you know, as a character. Let me just let me pop that out of there. Is a horror comic, like supernatural. Sorry, I didn't realize it was so small. Apologies for that. It's like it's a horror, supernatural horror comic, and it's no holds barred, right? We just go hard out, like your purest, like most hardcore version of hell that I can think of. You know, it's there. At the start, I kind of went like, oh, we could just do like a mature reader, M15, you know, 15 years, 16 years, and you'll be fine. And I was like, yeah, but it's about hell. Like, why pull your punches if you're going to do your book on hell? Let's just go hard out. And so I, you know, basically we went in, and I mean, I went and had to like second guess myself. And so I talked to the publisher, you know, the CEO at Rising Sun Comics, Hawk Sanders. I said, man, I'm having trouble with this. Like, I can't make up my mind. And even like I said to James, who's the artist on this book, I said, hey, I mean, can we change it a bit? You know, put a top on or something like that, you know, on the ladies. And I was like, and then Hawk goes, you know, we don't have anything of this caliber, right? Of this story, you know, type of story, like a full-on horror story. He said, well, what do you know, why not just go for it? And I said, well, yeah, that's right, because when we did the original, I didn't put any boundaries on myself. Why am I putting boundaries on myself now? And so you know, so when, okay, James, take it away, man. Like, just do whatever you feel and just go for it. And so, you know, we ended up like, he's you know, done amazing work on this. It's immaculate, you know, like this is one of like let me bring it up. I should just, here's this is a side character to the main book. Like, Are you not going to give it to me now? Where'd you go? Ah, there it is. Had to like raise it up. So this is, this is a character called Matthew, and he is actually, and I will make him bigger and make myself smaller this time. And so he's like a side character who just shows up in like a 1 or 2 panels. That's it for the entire book. But he's got a story of his own, which is like probably like an 8-issue maxi series where you don't really, you kind of wonder, like, why do you have this guy talking in this friggin' thing? Because he's part of the bigger part of the Plunge universe, right? And so he's in this another thing called Dirt. And Dirt is basically about a crime thriller drama based in Fiji. And so this character here, he's actually like a low-level paid assassin, hitman kind of thing. And so I wanted to like have him here kind of like looking a bit younger, but not so younger. And so, we got the first issue done, and then something happened, and the artist decided that he didn't want to work on it anymore. And so we put it on the side, and now we're going to wait. We've got an eye on an artist who I want to bring him on later when there's money for him to, because as you got to have money to pay your artists. So I said, like, yeah, I'm going to keep you in mind, and when we have the money, we'll pay you to do the other, to do the entire series, because his art style is exactly very similar to the artist from the first issue. So it'll be pretty cool to carry on that style without having to redo the new style. Get a new artist to do the first issue all over again, which I've had to do at the moment for another book. And yeah, the time and energy, it sucks. So I thought I'd look for someone to do Dirt, who has the same, as close to the art style as possible. And so later on, when we go to do it, we'll be able to go, hey, we're ready for you now. But of course, like I said, you got to have the money to make sure that the guy's paid to do the work. Sometimes not everybody is as the ones who go that way with a contract. But yeah, so one of like this week, right? I just got sent. Actually, that was probably, I had the right one there. Hold on, the file. So I had a friend read one of our other comic books this week. I sent him the digital copy, and I said, hey, can you go through this and please let me know, errors, grammar, and check through it, because we're going to put this out for a special prize as a kind of like a preview to the books coming, to our first manga, which is The Tortoise. And so let me just make sure I've got that there. Yeah, I've got it there. So The Tortoise is, is our first ever manga, right? And so this is what I was talking about, like having a different artist come on and finish off somebody else's, carry on with issue 2 of somebody else's work. So this is, right now we've got Thomas working on it. He's doing issue 2, 3, 4, and then he's going to go back and do issue 1. So that when we release the Kickstarter in print for this, we'll be able to release all of them as his book, because that's like, it's kind of like honoring the fact that he's, he's doing the work, but not only that, but his name is on the book, on the final product. So that's why we're going to release this first issue as a lower, as a lower price point, as an entry to that. So this is, Tomas's work, and I've put 2 pages of them in there. So like in the start and at the end, they're all part of the story. It's a good kind of good for you what to look for now. When you go to story, and then years earlier. So this is Levi's work, and he's done like 24 pages or something for issue 1. It's basically about a young girl who's always wanted a turtle, finally gets a turtle, and turtles can live up for friggin' hundreds of years, right? And so this is really is a story about her and her, her pet, and it's a mature reader comic book, and it's about her and a relationship as well as growing up as a 22-year-old, right? And now what should they go on a overseas journey, kind of like what we call OE over here, we call it OE, overseas experience, where you go and work over, either go for a holiday or do kind of like go and work there to learn about the culture. My brother's done it. I think my sister did it as well. I think my brother's done it twice. He went to Thailand to teach English, and he also went to China as well. He's living over in Aussie at the moment. Both my brothers are living over in Aussie. So now let me show you this piece here. So this is kind of like part of the story where they go on the OE. And so, as you know, like in all around the world, is Habitat for Humanity is a thing, right? So as part of the Plunge universe, we have our own. We have a religious group called the Holy Temple of the Polyhedron, right? And so they have their own sort of like their religion-based thing, and they have all sorts. That's the main religion of the of our world, the Plunge universe. And so here you go, like these Amber, who's the lead character, and her friend Kirsten, who are on an OE building a house, right, for a chief. And so this is the artwork here. So it's being a true manga, right? You read from right to left, right? So you start over here and you go across the page and so on and across. So this is going to be released in the next couple of weeks. It's digital at a special price point, right, on risingsunpublishing.com. I'll put the page up soon and show you guys where you can find it with a link and stuff. So yeah, so it's pretty cool. And because I wanted to objective eye on this, and so I got a friend to just not rip it apart, but just go in and look for errors and stuff. So I got a whole bunch of like photos and saying this is where it's wrong. This, you need to fix this or do this or that. And he said he enjoyed the story, right? And this is just the first issue. So this is just like this is the first issue is more about the relationship. I want to get involved in a bit more idea of what's going on. It's a 4-issue series, and it's got to do with going to another culture and how that culture, sees things and and what they expect from you as a stranger to them, and what you expect, your own expectations of another culture, right? Because a lot of times, like you don't know the rules, and people don't, as in Westerner, people in the other country doesn't know your rules either, because you're, when you live in the West, you're very, you've kind of like sheltered from a lot of how people live across on the other side, over the fence, right? And so this, I kind of like wanted to bring that sort of aspect to the story, and also, just this, to have Amber go on a journey and to, kind of like discovering herself, discovering the world around her, and she's a very kind person, helping, goes and takes a week off to go and help build some stuff, right? Help the natives, as they say, to build a house for their chief, right? And so, it's all, it's kind of like when I was actually doing this, I actually did a lot of study into turtles. It was like, I was like, well, if I'm going to do a friggin' thing, I need to know what I'm talking about, right? And so I think this is about, maybe about 7-8 years ago I might have done it. I can't remember exactly when I started writing it, but I mean, working on it, because I had a dream about the girl on the beach, right? So when I showed you that, that little, this whole, let me just bring this up, and this is the weird part. Like a lot of my stories, comic book stories, come from me having a dream, right? So I like, I know it seems a bit weird, but like, I mean, if you understand, just imagine you're in a dream, and you can be anything in that dream, right? So I'm dreaming, and next thing you know, I'm on a beach. There's a little girl. There's mom and dad, right? and I'm going, there's turtles, and I want to, you know, because all you're doing is watching, right? You're not actually, you know, you're not. I wasn't actually, what is it called, lucid dreaming, right, where I can control what's going on. So I was just like seeing this going on, right? And the little girl's going, oh, I want a turtle, you know, and so on. And then I'm dreaming. Next thing you know, she gets a turtle years later. And then I was like, I wake up. Oh no, there's like, then it turns to friggin', you know, something weird. And I was like, then I wake up, go, man, that sounds like a pretty interesting story. So I jot it down. I put out like, you know, I do like you know, I do a step outline, which is like this happened there. Page 1, this happens. Page 2, this happens, kind of thing. And so I plotted it out. And then I was like, I know the 12, because it was 12 pages of what I wrote. And then it, you know, when we started working on it, I was like, 12 pages is a bit weird to, you know, because I'm not doing an anthology. Why don't I just expand it into like a whole, you know, 40 pages or something like that? Then I was like, oh, let's just do an entire graphic novel, right? And so it ended up being a graphic novel, then became a manga, because it looked at Levi's work, and his art style was kind of like, you know, manga style, right? If you really think about it. And so, you know, he'd come earlier to Rising Sun Comics and said, hey, look, I would like to work for you guys. And then I think Hawks just said, look, you need to work a bit more on your, you know, whatever. And so then he came back a couple of years later and said, hey, you know, I'm ready. And so that's how we got, you know, he came over across to me as an artist, right? Because I only deal with artists once the contracts are written. I don't sort of like deal beforehand with them. I just look at their work and say, oh yeah, that'll work, or not, or maybe it'll work for that story. And so, you know, it was like I said, you know, I mean, sorry. So, you know, that was how they, you know, had started. And so we had like, you know, come up with ideas and stuff, and then like I said, I had to go research. And so it must be around 2018, right? So 6 years ago, around about maybe, yeah, about 6 years ago is when I had the dream. And so, you know, I had a look at it, I found this poster, so I thought I might as well include this, right? If you want to help, you know, if they're still doing this moratorium, because they were trying to protect the sea turtles, right? Because there was a whole thing where people would eat them during rituals, right? And, you know, as you know, like, was like turtle shell soup or whatever they call it, stuff like that. And like, you know, these creatures live for hundreds of years, and you know, you just, okay, we'll just take them out of the sea and eat them, right? And that's that. And so it's kind of become like a, you know, yeah, like I learned so much about the green sea turtle. And it's kind of like, you know, they come and lay their eggs in Fiji on the island, and then mom goes away, dad goes away, right? And then like they basically fight to get to the water against the friggin' birds that come and try to eat them, right? And so the survivors are the ones that we see, you know, in the sea. So it was really, it was kind of really eye-opening. So it kind of became my, not only became like a, you know, like a comic book story, also became like a conservation piece for me, right? Because you know, as much as, you know, I like to recycle, as you know, and I like I say, like everything begins at home, right? So if I'm not recycling, why would I expect anybody to do that? If I'm not concerned about the environment, why would I expect anybody else to be concerned about it? So yeah, it was really wicked eye opener to see, you know, them struggling and all they had to go through. I was watching videos and stuff, if I remember right, because I tend to forget it with my head injuries and stuff. And so yeah, I think I must have spent about a couple of months just looking at all this stuff and actually doing researches on how baby turtles, you know, their lifespan and all that. And I included some of that in the book, not to bore people, but like to just show this is, you know, so that, you know, what their journey is in life, you know. And so hopefully, you know, you guys will pick it up, you know, and read it, because like it's kind of like a supernatural mythological horror tale, you know, almost, as well as kind of like a drama. But yeah, it's kind of like slice of life kind of thing, but it has horror and supernatural elements to it. And I love what, you know, what what Tomas is bringing to the table as well, because like his style of tones and stuff like that, and his style of art, like, you know, this one here, you know, I just love this piece, so I want to include that in there, you know, as well. You know, this character looks so cool, you know, especially Anio. She's awesome. This is like a female warrior. I thought that was pretty cool. But one of the other things is that, like, when we do the Kickstarter for them, we've got like all the, yeah, man. It's interesting because it's you know, it's my first manga, because I've always, you know, I've loved anime and stuff for decades now, you know, almost like about what, 20, 30 years. And it's, you know, it's kind of like tying in stuff of what I like about Japanese art styles when it comes to comics and stuff, and just, you know, and then bringing in my own stories into it. One of the things it's going to show is like I was saying, like, you know, we're going to have like let me just pop this down, some variant covers that have already been done, right? You know, that was already done when we like about 2 years ago or something. And so let me pop up one. So this is a mature book, so you get mature, you know, content for covers, and, you know, people, you know, if you wanted to like collect covers, right, cover art and stuff like that. So what I did was I had James, you know, as I mentioned, artist on Templeton Rising 4, do some covers, and he did amazing work on them. Let me find it. Yeah, this one here, man, like, this is one of my favorite covers. Like, it's the same one, kind of similar on the vein and takeoff of the image I just showed. And you know, it's a wraparound cover. I love James' work. It's amazing. Are you gonna pop up? Doesn't want to pop up. Give me 1 sec. Cancel that. Let's see if bring it back up. Oh, it's a large file, so it's taking a bit of time, guys. Sorry about that. And while it's doing that, maybe I'll bring up Rising Sun, where you guys can pick up my most recent comic book, which is this one here. I'll put the put the link in the chat in a minute. Let me shorten the link, because every time it's the longer link says preview, and everybody thinks it's preview, but it's not a preview copy. It's an actual full 36 pages, and it is Robot Nation is our next book that's coming out, and it is this one here. It's actually, I mean, by coming out, I mean like on Kickstarter. We just have securing some stuff with that, and $2.99 US right now. And Iwa Kim, who I've got an interview with, you know, chatting with on this weekend. He's the artist on this one here, so he's on that cover. I love that cover, and that's a cover that we're going to give away free. It's a limited edition cover that we're going to give away to store owners who basically buy this standalone copy and support our Kickstarter. They'll get a free copy of this as a, you know, as a comic book with that cover on it. So the link is there in the chat for that. Now, is that page come up yet? Doesn't want to come up. Man, it wants to crash on me. Hold on. Dang it. Too many files open on that. Let me just move over. I'm going to put on a, here's a, so So I was going to talk about what was that? What page am I on here? Oh, that one. Get rid of that. That is done. Where are you? Oh yeah, here. Right. So just while I'm finding the sorting the image out, this is a what's happening in another piece of what's happening in China. This is big tech closing down their firms in China, and this one's a really crack up because it's talking about how Tesla paid out so much money that people are happy they're getting fired over there. It's crazy.
特斯拉大裁员上了热搜啊。So the Tesla big layoff is trending, huh? But you know what's even hotter than the layoff itself? It's Musk's lightning-fast way of doing it. No fancy stuff like shifting roles or cutting salaries, just straight to the point. Problem solved in a jiffy. And the compensation package is pretty decent too. They're giving an extra month of severance pay in China and extra 2 months in the US, with compensation hitting your account within 48 hours. Layoffs are supposed to be a sad thing, but everyone seems oddly thrilled, flaunting their compensation online. Some folks got 5 or 6 grand after just half a year's work, and then there's someone boasting about a whopping 620 grand. Talk about a clean break, right? Tough times call for tough measures, and companies tightening their belts is just par for the course. Tesla's sales of new cars dropped by 9% from January to March. Particularly in Europe, major countries like Germany seized sales subsidies, leading to a sharp decline in exports to the European market. Sales targets were not met. Coupled with intense competition, the market is concerned about the growth prospects of Tesla's electric car business. This situation forced Musk to conduct a large-scale layoff on April 15th. Meanwhile, as the Chinese economy slows down, German companies in China are also facing difficulties and have begun to lay off employees. On April 19th, Chinese media reported that German software company SPA Shanghai has initiated a round of large-scale layoffs. According to several SPA employees, they have received generous compensation packages with compensation at N+4, meaning standard severance pay plus 4 months of additional salary. In addition, statutory annual leave of 10 days is cashed out at double the rate, and the number of days off is cashed out. For those with stocks, they're all cashed out, regardless of whether they're frozen or not, and Social Security contributions will be paid to employees until the end of May. Established in 1972, German company SPA Shanghai is headquartered in Waldorf, Germany, and is the world's largest provider of enterprise management and collaborative business solutions, as well as the third largest independent software supplier globally. SPA is currently the highest valued company on the German stock market. Reports indicate that it's not just SPA, but many foreign companies in China are conducting large-scale layoffs, with Ericsson also confirming layoffs in the Chinese region involving the core network R&D department. Germany is seen as an industrial powerhouse in Europe and one of the world's top economies. For decades, Germany's advanced manufacturing advantage has enabled companies like BMW and Siemens to achieve tremendous success in the Chinese market. According to data from Berlin-based consultancy Roland Berger, from 2009 to 2021, German exports to China increased by 136%, equivalent to twice the total exports to China from France, the UK, and Italy combined. However, influenced by increasingly aggressive protectionism and high-pressure industrial policies by the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, this path seems to have become more difficult. According to Politico's analysis on April 12, quote, "More recently, though, that road has looked more like the highway to hell amid Beijing's ever more aggressive protectionism and heavy-handed industrial policy. Chinese companies are encroaching on Germany's core markets, having acquired their technological know-how from these very companies." The German Economic Institute warned in January this year that by 2022, 13% of advanced manufacturing products in the European Union, including pharmaceuticals, machinery, and automobiles, would be imported from China, compared to just 2.5% in 2000. At the same time, the rise of Chinese domestic companies is also eroding the profits and market share of German companies in China. A survey conducted by the German Chamber of Commerce in China showed that nearly 2/3 of German companies in the Chinese market feel discriminated against and face unfair competition. In addition, the generous subsidies provided by China for key industries, including wind turbine manufacturers and car companies, are increasingly frustrating for the European Union. This has led to a large number of cheap Chinese electric cars being imported into Europe, putting tremendous pressure on local manufacturers. On the other hand, China's increasingly aggressive dumping of, quote, excess capacity globally is also causing concerns among various countries. During German Chancellor Scholz's visit to China from April 14th to 16th, he visited Tongji University in Shanghai. According to Reuters, at Tongji University, Scholz stated that while Germany and Europe may import cars from China at some point, fair competition must be ensured. That is, quote, no dumping, no overproduction, no infringement. On April 16th, Scholz also met with CCP leader Xi Jinping. Voice of America reported that Scholz mentioned Germany's concerns about China's excess production capacity and government subsidies. German.
I was just telling my friend yesterday about how to stop like cheap steel coming into America from Mexico. From China by way of Mexico. American governments just basically told Mexico to harden up their customs and try to stop that from happening, because most of that metal is substandard, and it's actually what's it called? It's like it's been financed, or it's kept low because the CCP, the Chinese government, is topping up the excess, right? Like paying about 10-20% of it to keep the prices down, so that like the companies themselves are able to work at a loss because it's the government that's keeping it operational. So this is a wraparound cover for the tortoise. Probably I'll put on issue 2, like a variant cover for issue 2. And then the other one here, is this one here. Bring it up. This would be for issue 1, I would say, which is kind of like it's this is the one with the warriors on it, and with both Kirsten and Amber on it. And I've done a flats to this, the color flats to it, and I might leave it as a color flats rather than like doing tones. We'll see. And also they're both 2 wraparound covers, so they'll be like cover Bs for the Kickstarter releases when we do in print. The other one there is this one here. So you're probably looking at cover A, B, like 1, 2, and 3, all B covers. So this would be for cover A. I mean, sorry, for issue A, I should say, the B cover for issue A. So I've actually done the flats for this as well. So, make it easy on whoever ends up doing the final colors on it. Yeah. So with our with all our comics, we basically put them out. We'll be putting them out as digital first, with on Rising Sun Comics page. And so if you visit the publisher's page here, you'll be able to get to our own personal Plant Studios page here, which is this one, and you'll see products that our own sort of line of products, comics, I guess, or magazine. The reason I say products is because there's a magazine on there as well, not just comic books. So on here we'll be adding the tortoise in the next couple of weeks as soon as I finish off. Hopefully I'll be finished tonight, and even after that, after I do the final edits, I'll still go send it back and say, hey, can you look over and see if I've got it right again, if it's ready to go for print. So yeah, I mean, it's been pretty cool being able to work on these projects, because it takes a while, right? It takes a while to do anything when you're creating art, like here, as you can see, because I'm talking most of the time, but still, I get to figure out along the way what works, what doesn't work. And so you can pick up the magazine here, 64-page magazine, Sunspot magazine, for $2.50 US, which is right about $4 New Zealand. A cup of coffee, basically, is how I priced them at. It's a digital 64 page. Ignore that. That's just like for print, just to show what's on there. But there's so many awesome artists working here. I'm just like so proud of this project that we put together, because you get to see other people's arts, and they're all standalone stories. So they're like short stories, but they're standalone, right? So you don't have to worry about reading anything else. But there's this one here, the bus. There's an actual full comic book called Purgatory, which is part, which you can actually buy as well. And this is what I love about Rising Sun. We've got so many amazing work, available. Whatever you're into. Let me do the US one here. So you've got, this is the one I was mentioning here, Purgatory, right? I think it's actually sold out. Or is it still, there might be still a couple available. This is really cool. It's a full graphic novel, 141 pages, and includes before release side story, Those That Burn Below. Yeah, so it's awesome. It's a good book. I like this. I love the artwork on this. It's just amazing, really, really cool. Sorry, can't. Oh, let me raise this up so you guys can see that. I really love the artwork in this book, and it's a good story as well. So that's Purgatory. You can pick that up as well from Rising Sun Publishing Group.com. Also, there's Hide Kill. Pre-orders are up. You can Collapse. You got Equation. So many awesome stuff up here. Armadillo is a really cool read for young kids as well. It's like if you got young ones, you want to teach them how to read and stuff. The Tall Tales has like activities for kids. Now you've got Equation issue 3. What else is Collapse? Load more. Give us more. I think here we go. Black Lotus is one of my favorites. I haven't finished reading issue 3 yet, but I love issue 1 and 2. Very cool. And you got some of these others, they're out of stock, and some are out of print, but I mean, digital is always there, right? So there's quite a few. Let me see what else is there. These are I think this is the studio books. I mean, sorry, this is the Rising Sun books. Let me get to the studio ones, because the studios have their own product lines there as well. So non-profit, and so you got like stuff like this, which is like full-length comics, right? Part of G.I. Joe universe. And you got Mask and stuff like that as well, kind of the Millerverse. Get me over here. One of my other favorites is Henry. There's this fun book. Yeah, it's for mature readers. It's a fun book. It's really worthwhile. Where are we looking at here? So there's an Enemy Transmission. There's the books that they've put out. Equation is one of their ones, 4 issues there. Right, so there's Red-Headed Studios as well. You can check that out. Dino Girl, and what was that one? Dead Reckoning. So Dead Reckoning. Move over. And you got CTE, which is Cover the Enemy, more G.I. Joe. If you haven't got enough G.I. Joe in you, grab that. You got Action Force Red Dawn. What's here? This is Data Press. This is a studio book. This is a studio called Data Press. So they put out their own stuff, and this is their works there. Kind of like a 80s, 90s style art. Then, of course, you've got the US side, and then you've got us here, with Robot Nation and stuff. Can't wait to get this in print. Can't wait to hold it in my hand. Like when you see it in digital, it's like it's digital, right? But once it's in your hand, it's a physical thing. Yeah, it's the best feeling. Like I remember having like the web comic of Incredible #1. I was like, It's real now. You know, it's in print. All right. Let me see if there's anything else I want. Oh yeah, wrestling. Wrestling. I forgot. Right, I almost forgot that. So let's finish off on wrestling. So I watch wrestling as much as I do anime, or maybe a bit less. But I've watched wrestling since I was a kid, right? And one thing I found really interesting when it comes to WWE and when it comes to WWE, AEW, never mind all the other friggin' hundreds of other people, there's this thing between AEW, right? Sorry, I should say WWE fans and AEW, right? Where they always put down, no matter anything that AEW does, they always put down AEW, no matter how good it is, no matter what is involved. And one of the funniest things about that was a match between Swerve Strickland and I think Adam Cole. So let me just bring that up. And had to do with a like a pay-per-view match where Swerve and Adam Cole, you know, basically had a match and it involved blood, right? It was vicious. It was full-on vicious. And I think was it Revolution? And so, was it Revolution or was it earlier? Let me see if I can, which one it was. So what happened was like these got like these like the AEW like shields, right? I would call them shields because that's what it was. It was like not AEW shields, WWE shields. What it was they were like so over the top anti AEW that the moment they saw blood, right? I think this was this one here. It's a rubber match. I think it was that one. I think it was this one. Yeah, I think it was this one. So it got to a point, right? It was so vicious. There was a lot of blood in this match, like really, literally. So let me find an actual decent. They're moving all the time. Stop moving, guys. You're making it all furry. Right. So this is Swerve Strickland, right? And that's at it's Page, Adam Page. I think it was Adam Page. I think it was kept calling Cole. Right. So the story was it was this full-on thing where Swerve Strickland actually went into Page's home while he wasn't there into his child's bedroom and looked over the court. So it was the whole storyline was really vicious, right? As you know, it's basically TV, right? So with a bit, sports choreographed. So that was the storyline, and so Adam Cole basically, Swerve Strickland, Page, right? They have this full-on match, and there's blood everywhere, and so it's kind of it's really hard to describe because like basically at one point Page basically drinks Swerve Strickland's blood, like Shane's blood, right? And so the next day, right, that straight away afterwards, everybody's WWE fans are like, how could they? Blood, how dare they, do blood and all this? Because the policy at WWE has been for a few years now, no blood, no swearing, no blood, no swearing, right? And so AEW just, they just go all out. It's kind of it's a really cool mix because it's like, you can have really clean fight, non-blood fights, or you can have like blood. These fights, for pay-per-view can turn into like, death matches, right? Like weapons, no holds barred kind of things. And so, which I love. Like I really, if you watch like lame, freaking, grappling matches, it gets boring, right? Like I mentioned earlier about stories. Like if you hear the same, if you hear a friggin' YouTuber talk about the same thing every day, it gets boring, right? And so I like watching like death matches, right? Full on. And then I also like watching the Japanese wrestlers, female wrestlers. I always forget the friggin' name. It's annoying. Anyway, New Japan Wrestling as well, and actually that group is actually the female wrestling Japanese outfit is gonna be part of in New Japan. I just heard today, so they're going to team up as one thing. So it's going to be really cool because they got some amazing talent. I actually think some of the Japanese female wrestlers have harder hits and falls than most of American top name wrestlers, right? Because those mats don't friggin' have any foam on them, right? Because all the US ones and even UK ones, and also Mexico ones probably have a layer of like an inch thick of like foam on top, hard foam, but still foam that that kind of softens the blow, right? But those guys, they're just on freaking plywood, man. You can hear them hit. It doesn't get muffled, right? It's like that. And so, sorry for the lowness there. And so when I look, that's what I like enjoying watching I rather watch the female Japanese wrestlers matches than the American inlets. But so what happened with the wrestling was that because of everybody in the WWE, the commentators were like putting it down really, really bad. Like they were like on friggin' commentating, like yelling and screaming, or Twitter and on YouTube going, oh, they shouldn't have done that. It's just putting down, making a joke of wrestling and making it all about this. I was like, really? Do you guys not watch any other show but WWE? Is that all you watch? I mean, like I said, Lucha Libre. I'm watching freaking Japanese. I'm watching CZW, which is Combat Zone. I'm watching friggin' New Japan. I hardly watch WWE because I get bored after 40 years of that thing. It's basically the same show, same storylines over and over again. And even found out this week, even those people who wanted the whole Cody storyline are now within 48 hours are going, we don't want that storyline anymore. It's like, we don't like Cody anymore. It's like fickle, right? However, if you're watching a whole bunch of other, other outfits, wrestling outfits, you get to really see what else is out there. And so you don't get bored, right? And then you sort of enjoy what you're watching because now you get to taste of this and taste of that. So with AEW, and I think the only reason they always put down AEW is because they see AEW as a legitimate American outfit that's challenging to WWE. Because WWE shills wouldn't be putting down AEW as much if they didn't see it as a threat to WWE. Yeah, should they have all the money, but they also have 40 years of friggin', being in the business, right? They've done everything, right? So they've known how to write the stories away. But then they went on to recently, right? So not only did they copy the whole blood thing and swearing from AEW within like a month of putting them down, not only that, then they go on to, oh, now AEW is letting people go because they got new people coming. Guess what happened this week? They let a whole bunch of WWE people go. Oh, now WWE fans are all shutting their mouth now. This is what I mean about the whole idea of all they see AEW is like they hate them so much that when their own crowd does it, WWE, they just shut their mouth and don't say anything. And it's just when you watch like 5-6 different other wrestling outfits like I do, right? Kind of thing, like you can see the shield in that, right? You can see how hypocritical it is. And that's why I don't talk about wrestling a lot on this channel because I just enjoy it. I watch the clips and stuff and and just keep it to myself. But I think the idea is that if you like wrestling as wrestling, you would enjoy it, right? For what it is, because we know it's all choreographed, right? It's not like 100% real because it hurts, but you're not in there. You're not gonna lose a match and lose. I mean, if you lose a match, you're gonna lose a match. you're not going to worry about it because next week you might have win that match. It's not like MMA where you're like putting your body on the line and you're there to win, right? That's it. It's not like a boxing match where you race, or even a friggin' athletics, right? You're there running against everybody to win. In wrestling, you're not there to win. It's a storyline. And so I find it funny how people get so deep into wrestling where they will hate another company just because someone else they loved, like Adam Copeland, right? Edge. Now they hate him because he's at AEW because he's over there now. We don't like him anymore, and because he's over there now, that's because he's taking he's decided to do that, be part of that company after getting fired. Of course, he's not allowed to do wrestle anywhere else, right? He should go to the indies, like far away from AEW, right? As far away from WWE. And it's like, well, is he not allowed to earn a living, right? And it's the hypocritical. It's just like friggin' Triple H going off on Will Ospreay, right? Who's friggin' amazing, right? And because he wants to look after himself and wants to look after his family, and he's like, oh, if you don't do 365, whatever, every day then you're not a wrestler. It's like, well, just because you grinded on someone to get the job you're at now doesn't mean everybody wants to do that themselves, right? He's worried about, look at all the breakdowns in families that wrestling has, all the deaths that wrestling has, right? All the suicides, right? All the, domestic violences that WWE has, right? A legacy of, destructive family environments, all sumo 2024. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, I find it, that's why I thought, I just find it funny that you'd have somebody going, hey, I want to make sure that I'm close to my family, that the amount of wrestling I'm doing, I'm bringing my A game, but I'm also looking after myself and my family. And it's like, it's funny to hear them like put that down when, as a CEO of a friggin' outfit, your family is the friggin' business. Your father-in-law was the owner of the business. Your wife has been, raised in the family. Your brother-in-law is in that family. Your mother-in-law has been in the business, right? So you have the goal as a CEO, right, to put down another company or to put down another wrestler who isn't screwing the daughter of the owner. Because the whole thing was China, right? We all know, if you've followed wrestling, you know what he did to China, right? And sadly, China, went into adult, X-rated movies and stuff, and ended up committing suicide, right? And they just left her out there to hang, and the storylines that's to do with it, put her down and stuff. Like, I think, here's the thing, right? So when we talk about like the stuff that WWE has done in the past, right, is just, it's been terrible. Not only sexist, sexual harassments and all that, but even racism, right? Blatant racism. It's just funny. Like, check out this little clip here. I'm sure, it's from one of the channels, so hopefully, WWE doesn't have a mess around with this one. That was awesome. Yeah, man. I miss Eddie. Eddie was cool. That's what I mean about, like, WWE has a whole friggin' line of like deaths, suicides, and DVs, and it's just so sad, and yet they're willing to throw anybody who wants to look after themselves, especially like over at AEW, under the bus. And it's like, you guys are so hypocritical when somebody says, hey, I want to look after myself, I want to look after my family, at my own pace. And they're like, oh, I don't want, you would never work at AEW, WWE with that attitude. It's like, yeah, well, because this is when people are thinking about their future, not thinking about the company, right? They're not willing to die for the company, right? And ruin their marriages and stuff. So they're able to come in on their own, contract And that's the whole thing. Like before, like you either work there or you work nowhere. And now it's like you got another place, which is like, talking about another place. Like TNA is basically owned by the same company that owns WWE, right? It's Endeavor Group, right? So they own TNA. And not only that, all the top talent, right, like Cena and Rock, are represented by another company that is owned by Endeavor Group, right? Oh, did I lose it? Did they cut me out? Bummer. Hopefully not. But yeah, so like imagine that, like you've got, oh, here's the other thing I was thinking while I was watching that. Eddie Guerrero didn't have to be naked on national TV. Talking about John Cena, right? That is the most that had to be the most, like, I don't know what it is, like where you got to sacrifice your soul, right? I think, yeah, the Latino Heat thing that must have like turned the screen off. But I mean, like, sorry, the wrestling piece. But one of the things is like imagining like Cena at Golden Globes, right? Being naked to promote a movie that he's in when there's all these other people in there didn't have to do that. Yet Cena was willing to go naked on screen. Okay, so he's hiding his junk, but there's kids watching that. Like Golden Globes, there's mom and dad sitting with mom and dad sometimes watching that, right? Now that is all over the internet. Imagine, being a kid, oh, Cena, make a wish and all that stuff. And now you see this guy's naked, a male role model, so-called, right, is naked on a screen because he wants to win an award or wants to promote a movie. It's like, it's the weirdest thing to do. It's like what was this thing? It's like, I can't remember now. The comedian said earlier this year, right, in January, I think it was, like he said, like, they keep wanting to put like dresses on actors, right, and you'll see them like get 10 movie deals, and it's like, Cena's at about 5 movie deals right now. I guess he's got another 5 to go, and one of the, like, it's like humiliation ritual is what they're calling it, what Cena did, and I think it is. I think it's like, why else would you, like, you could go up there with your so-called championship belt and go, yo, I'm John Cena, right? I'm in movies now, and like nobody would give it. But like, why would you go naked on there? It's weird, like to humiliate yourself. It's like, oh yeah, because I'm proud of my, like, I wonder, like, I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, I just lost all respect, to be honest. I was just like, it just feels weird to be spent 20 plus years of your life wrestling and top of the game, right? World champions in movies. Probably one of the funniest movies just about to come out. I can't remember what it's called, but I played the ad on the Monday night show. More movies, more with like Don't Hate Mondays, and with the trailer show, and I was like, this looks like a really fun movie to watch, and now I don't want to watch it. It's like, imagine sacrificing your your pride for a few extra bucks in front of everybody in like the world, and but it's not like Cena hasn't done that before, right? I just remembered he did that thing with what was that comedy he did with that lady who isn't even funny? Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, but yeah, I just thought that was pretty. Like, that's what, like, I think, like, the whole idea of like WWE, I don't see why isn't WWE putting down TNA, because TNA has hardly anybody at their shows, yet everybody's begging, like trying to like put down WWE at 8,000 people at their shows. I watched a bit of what was it called? I think they had Revolution last year, because they introduced a Kiwi wrestler, because he was with them at that time. Now he's with AEW, Jay White, right? Switchblade Jay White. He's from New Zealand, and and they said Austin, New Zealand. I'm like, where the hell's Austin, New Zealand? There isn't a place called Austin, New Zealand. It's Auckland, New Zealand. And the guy pronounced it wrong. And I was like, that doesn't, did he say Austin? So I put on the subtitles. No, he did say Austin. And he probably meant Auckland. And I was like, you know, they didn't even correct it. But anyway, so yeah, there's probably like about 500 people turn up to a pay-per-view for a TNA show. Yet nobody puts down TNA from WWE because they own TNA. Their own parent company owns TNA. That's why they were able to have Trinity on there. That's why they were able to have that, gosh, who's that really muscle-bound lady? Starts with J. And she was on there as well, right? Is it Jody? Can't remember. But she was on there as well. And they're like, what is that? Like the Royal Rumble, right? So they had two people basically showing up in a WWE Royal Rumble from TNA. That's why they don't put down TNA. But they will put down WWE because WWE parent company has nothing to do with them. So that's why they see them as a challenge. And it's quite interesting to watch that all come come down, because like that's what I mean about like when you don't watch all these other shows, you don't know what's going on. So all you see is that it's AEW, WWE, AEW. You don't watch. I almost had that name of the wrestling Japanese wrestling company that I was just thinking of. Hold on, I should be able to find it. I always forget. Even one of my favorite female wrestlers is on there. Like that's what is her name? Is it Kawasa? No. Oh, I always forget her name. It really hacks me off because I always forget them. Because she's love her wrestling. It's amazing. It's a fun person to watch wrestling. Let me see if I can find it across from professional wrestling on tab over here. What is it called? Stardom. Damn it, Stardom. Why do I always forget Stardom? It's like such an easy one to remember, right? So if you've never watched Stardom, check out Stardom official on YouTube. So friggin' amazing female wrestling. It's a female outfit, but sadly, maybe it's a good thing as well, right? They've done so well. They're going to be joining New Japan Pro Wrestling, right? So let me see. Is it Saki on here? Sometimes it's really hard to, figure out who's fighting who because the names are, Japanese. But like, can you hear that? Like the bumps? Like, check out. Look at that friggin' plywood hit. Right. This is quite a flow match. Usually that's like pretty full on. Starting person. Julia, of course, coming to WWE is from Stardom, right? I reckon she's gonna fail in WWE, but she's a huge star in New Japan. I mean, sorry, in Stardom. Let me see if we can find something a bit faster, because like, man, there's some rugged matches. There we go. That's from one day ago, so it's just from yesterday. Oh, back of the net. All right, dude. Catch you soon. Okay. I'm not sure what you got tomorrow morning, but I'll try to catch it. Do check out Nathaniel's page, man. Like his channel, he does like album plays, like mystery album plays. So yeah, music. So check it out. That was an awesome move. Right, we're going to finish up with this, guys, and that's it for today. But yeah, do check out Stardom. You know, pretty awesome. You know, if you're into wrestling, right? A really cool outfit. Japanese female wrestlers, really cool. And of course, you know, you've got like AAA. I kind of find like AAA a bit more choreographed. It's just a bit out there, but you know, it's sort of more TV kind of thing. Whereas like Stardom sort of feels like that, but has this hard hitting matches, pretty full on. Like I mean, if you know some of the clips, if you watch like just matches are just full on. But the other thing about them, there are more that showmanship, right? Like the costumes are amazing and stuff, and like just the way they do it's kind of like watching anime sometimes. And you know, it's just pretty awesome sort of wrestling as well. And of course, New Japan, now they're going to be joining New Japan. That's going to be awesome as well. You know, very awesome athletic stuff. And so, you know, it doesn't sort of, because it's in Japanese, you're not going to like follow the storyline. So you know, you're going to pay more attention to the actual wrestling like I do. But that's us for today. Thank you for you know, following. Gone 20 minutes over time, but I thought I'd finish off with the wrestling and stuff because yeah, it's kind of interesting to watch like the two, you know, the whole WWE versus AEW, but nobody else, you know, and putting down everybody else that's not in WWE. You know, it's kind of sad to see that, but I mean, it is what it is. It's tribalism, you know, and that's what it comes down to. You see that in comics all the time. See that in music as well, like, you know, but it is what it is, right? At the end of the day, enjoy what you enjoy. You know, have fun. Wrestling's cool. I've been watching it since I was like 15, 14. So probably about 35 odd years. Yeah. So thank you for joining me today. Please check out my check out my comic book on Rise and Sun Publishing. And it's right, and next week or the week after we'll have another one up there. So this is the one up to here right now, which is Robot Nation. And it's only for a couple bucks, as you can see, $3. Price over coffee in New Zealand. And I have decent coffee, by the way. So you know, but please, yeah, check it out. And wherever you are, be well, be safe. We'll be back soon. And like I always say, all right, if you've got a loved one close by, let them know that you care, that you love them. Give them a hug and a kiss. You know, if they're not, you know, let them know via Facebook messages, soften, right? Do it any way you can let them know that you're okay and, you know, you're thinking of them. Because, you know, that might be, you know, your word or whatever you're putting out there might be what they need as encouragement in their life today. So thank you for joining me. We'll see you next time. Ka kite anō. Have a good week. If I don't see you again this week, we'll see you soon. Be well.